This is Sunday Focus, a weekly public affairs program that looks at the topics affecting our society and the people who are making a change in the community each and every day. The people who have vision for the next generation. Sunday Focus presents new challenges for us, keeping you informed with topics of local and regional interest. Now the host of Sunday Focus, Christine Manica.
Good morning. Coming up on this edition of Sunday Focus, we're talking about the Sanford International coming back to the Minnehaha Country Club this September. Davis Trosin, the tournament director, and Steve Young, the president of Sanford Sports, join the program to talk about this year's tournament, the events happening throughout the week, a big-time concert happening at the Sanford Pentagon, the future of golf here in the state of South Dakota, and their predictions for this year's Sanford International. As a reminder, the tournament is back September 11th through the 17th. More details on tickets and the week's events can be found at sanfordinternational.com. That's all coming up on this edition of Sunday Focus. Good morning, guys.
Morning. Great to be here.
It's awesome to have you guys here. One of my favorite things to talk about is sports and this huge sporting event, the Sanford International. It's coming up in the fall. It's part of the PGA Champions Tour, so there are a lot of legendary golfers that come to Sioux Falls just to play golf. Now, before we get into the story behind the Sanford International, I just want to know, how cool is it to see some of the greatest golfers play here in Sioux Falls?
I think it's a wonderful thing, right? I mean, to be able to see Hall of Famers, major winners, folks like Bernhard Langer, Darren Clark, crowd favorites like John Daly. I mean, to see them walking the fairways of Minnehaha Country Club each year has become a great tradition. And I think you see it from the community support that we get out at the event. And these guys are really, really good. Even just watching them on the driving range hit some golf balls, it's amazing just the radius that their golf balls go in compared to when I'm hitting out there, right? And so it's just fantastic to see these guys, especially the stories that they have and the experiences, come out to Sioux Falls and be able to entertain our crowds.
Yeah, you and me both. I cannot hit or swing the way that those guys do. And so let's kind of go with the backstory of the Sanford International. How did an idea turn into a reality?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I wasn't here at the time where they were thinking about having this come to town. But from what I understand is the folks from Sanford had been approached by some individuals from my company called ProLink Sports, who manages the event, and said, hey, we might be interested in bringing something like this to town. They had seen it be successful in other markets like Des Moines and like Minneapolis, so close to home here. And they really wanted to kind of see what was the viability of this event and could they make it happen. I think from the Sanford Health side, Steve can kind of speak to kind of what was going on in their minds when they were getting into town here.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Steve.
Hey, thanks for having us. Absolutely. So, at Sanford Health, we have an opportunity and quite frankly, a responsibility to invest in things throughout our community that make our community stronger. One of the things that I get the pleasure of doing every day on a daily basis at the sports complex, but even in our other markets, is to invest in sports, invest in our coaches, invest in our ability to influence the youth. And if you think about sports in general, there's not another shared, there's nothing else that an individual, a family, or a community member will share in a collective experience than sports. I mean, it has kind of become a secular religion in today's society, and Sanford has an opportunity to invest in that, and the Sanford International is no different than other things that we invest in. And as long as our community stakeholders, like the patrons and the citizens that come out and support it, like Davis says, you see it, people vote with their feet and they come out and participate. As long as we have great partners like ProLinks, as long as we have great partners like the PGA, and then most importantly, our course, the MCC and the members and the board. As long as those things continue to happen and everybody continues to support this, we're going to continue to invest in this, and for one reason only, and that's it helps our business community, it helps our community well-being, it gives a sense of pride in the area we live. And we're just really excited to bring it back again and again and again.
Yeah. Now, Davis, are you a first-time tournament director for the Sanford International, or how long have you been a part of it?
Yeah, so I've been in Sioux Falls for almost 4 years now. I came up as the assistant tournament director, who my colleague Josh Brewster took another position in golf. I stepped up to be the tournament director. I was really fortunate that Josh and I had a great relationship the last 3 years, and we did a lot of things hand in hand, so the transition has gone fairly smooth for me to take the reins and kind of lead our team of six staff members to work on this event year round and plan it for 11 months and really, looking forward to bringing this back to the community each year.
What gets you excited about the tournament now that you're the one planning it and kind of telling everybody how this should go? What gets you all hyped up for it?
Really, it's the entire process, right? I mean, we start out at the beginning of the year talking with sponsors about an idea. And now we're getting to the time period where our build has started and we're looking forward to seeing the stands kind of go up. So we almost build this little city out at Minnehaha Country Club, right? And so to see those ideas be turned into actual structures. And then once we get to tournament week, then we see the sponsors coming in, their excitement, all of the guests that they bring out to the tournament to utilize to develop relationships with them. But then also when the players get on site, right? I mean, to see those guys that we talked about walking the grounds in Sioux Falls and dining in our restaurants, staying in our hotels, that's a really unique thing from an event management perspective that I really fell in love with when I got into this industry.
So we kind of hit on it already a little bit, but let's talk about those partners and the sponsors that help make this a reality for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting with Sanford Health, starting with First Premier Bank Card, and MasterCard as our top presenting and title sponsors. Really, without their support, this event wouldn't be here. But it's the 140 other partners in the community, whether that's somebody buying 10 grounds tickets a day to entertain their employees, or someone that's sponsoring the Pro-Am like an EMC, or we have our concert, the Good Boy Vodkas of the world that came on board, the EMC that's community partner in that. And I think that's what seeing the business community really hold on to this event and cherish it is what makes these things viable from year to year. Obviously, we have expenses that we go through, and those sponsorships kind of help us create the event that we do, but they also see the importance of using our events as a platform to not only entertain their own clients, but to network with the many individuals that are out there at the tournament. We constantly say in our pitches to people, right? There's no other event in Sioux Falls where you have so many community stakeholders in one place at one time for a week-long period. And I think that's a really unique thing that's to the Sanford International, and that kind of speaks to why we've had such great support on the sponsorship front.
I mean, not to mention the atmosphere when you're there. It's kind of quiet over at Minnehaha Country Club, but when the tournament's in town, it's like a whole big festival in sporting form, if you think about it.
Sure, there's definitely a buzz, and I think that obviously Minnehaha Country Club has been a great partner of ours. There is some disruption that takes place when we're putting up the stands, but members tell me all the time that it's pretty cool those last couple of weeks when the stands are put up. They feel like they're playing in a PGA Tour event. You don't get to do that, week in and week out when you're out there typically. So that's a really unique thing, and we're grateful for their support to be able to continue having the events in Sioux Falls for the next 5 years.
I've been told by an undisclosed source that the greens are like butter when the tournament comes into town. That undisclosed source happens to be my fiance, who said it's like a dream playing out there during that time period. And again, we are talking about the 6th annual Sanford International Tournament. It's not easy bringing a PGA Tour to a smaller city like Sioux Falls. So how did you sell the PGA on Sioux Falls?
I think that's a really unique thing about the community itself is, again, showing the viability that you're going to be able to have sponsorship support in order to host the event. But the PGA Tour Champions, the 50 and older circuit, as folks like to refer to it, it really thrives in these types of markets. But something, again, that's just different about Sioux Falls is you watch a PGA Tour Champions event week to week, there's half, maybe just many less fans that are attending those other events. And you come out to Minnehaha Country Club during the tournament, and there is a buzz out there. There is a lot of energy from the folks filling the hospitality areas to the general spectators coming out to enjoy the event. A lot of the players remarked to us that they haven't felt this much energy since they played on the PGA Tour. And that gets those guys going, right? They all have egos. They want to come out here and be cheered for shots, and that gets that adrenaline going. So I think that really showcases what they think about the community when they're coming out, and that's why they keep coming out each year.
Yeah. Now, I won't get too much into this, but there was a point where some fans weren't sure if the tournament was going to come back to the Sioux Empire. Now, luckily, after multiple contract extensions, we are keeping the Sanford International here. So is that kind of a relief off of your shoulders a little bit to say, yeah, the next 5 years, the tournament, it's staying here in Sioux Falls?
100%. I mean, it takes those conversations out of our day-to-day that we would typically have, year to year, making sure we have somewhere to play, right? It allows us to focus on making the event the best that it can be year after year. Minnehaha Country Club, like I mentioned, has been a great partner. They really worked with us throughout this entire process. When Sanford Health approached us and said, hey, we would like to keep this event in Sioux Falls for years to come, we kind of engaged those conversations with Minnehaha Country Club, the board. It really was a true process where we were both contributing to those conversations. I think that we got some things from the tournament side that we were hoping for. We were able to offer some additional things to the membership and to the staff that they were looking for. And it really is truly a partnership, which I'm not sure that was felt in the first couple of years that the event was here, which is why there was so much consternation after those first couple of years of whether the event was going to take place going forward.
Now, the 2023 Sanford International, it's a whole week of excitement. There are great events going on throughout the week, including a concert on Friday, September 15th. So let's run down the week of events for the Sanford International.
How much time do you have?
Oh, we have all the time that you need, Davis.
That's the great thing about our tournament week is obviously the championship play takes place Friday through Sunday, but we have 1 week of the year, and we're trying to maximize our time out there, right? So beginning early in the week, we work with the Downtown Rotary to do a luncheon, which has been well received by those members of that group. We do a par 3 pro-am that afternoon, so we turn every hole into a par 3. It's called our Shorty Shootout. It's a lot less pressure for folks who might not want to take it at the next level for the EMC Championship Pro-Am, but that was a cool event that we introduced last year that had great success in doing that again this year on Monday afternoon. Tuesday, we have a Women's Day out at the tournament, so we try to create the space for just women to come out and enjoy what Minnehaha Country Club has to offer for the Sanford International. So we have a great keynote speaker, a woman named Michelle Money, who is the co-founder of a burgeoning golf brand called For All, and so she's Mike Weir's fiance too, so she's going to provide a great perspective of not only entrepreneurship of starting this new golf brand, but also life from the tour partner's perspective, because it might not be glorious as some people might see, and just kind of how that relates to how she got everything started with her brand. So really excited about that. We do a pro-am in the morning for those ladies, and then a luncheon that afternoon with a golf clinic with Sanford Health ambassadors Cindy Rarick and Kim Kaufman are going to do kind of an interactive golf clinic for some ladies that day to help them be more comfortable on the golf course. And then we get into that night, which is our Celebration of Champions draw party out at the Sanford House, which is a fantastic event for our big sponsors to see who they're playing with in the Pro-Am Wednesday, Thursday. So that's the first 2 days, right? So
that's only 2 days.
That's only 2 days. And then as we get into the rest of the week, so Wednesday and Thursday is the EMC Championship Pro-Am. So a wonderful opportunity for our sponsors to host some guests to play actually with one of the professionals. A very unique thing that's been kind of highly sought after from our sponsors, because it's one-on-one time that they get to spend with a professional, but also spend that time with 3 guests that they bring in, whether that's employees or prospects or some longtime clients, and just what a memory, to be able to talk through the rest of the year about playing with those guys. Then we get into Thursday, which is just another championship pro-am day, and then once we get into Friday, it's kind of all systems go on the actual golf itself. We do have a concert, like you mentioned, on Friday night out at the Sanford Pentagon that we're really looking forward to this year. Country music superstar Jake Owen is performing that night, and he's going to have a special musical opening act by Mr. John Daly himself, legendary golfer. So he's got 3 studio albums, a song with Willie Nelson, and he's actually kind of nervous to play in front of this many people. He told it to me himself. That's what I thought. He's usually grabs a guitar and plays in front of 10, 15 people at a time, but for the couple of thousand folks that we're going to have out there, it's going to be quite the show that night. He does realize that he performs in front of millions almost every week, right? in a different setting, though. That's with the golf club in his hand. The guitars. Obviously, he's a great player, but he's excited for it, which we're really looking forward to out at the Sanford Pentagon. And then as we get into Saturday and the weekend, we have the second round of tournament play. We do a sunrise yoga out at the golf course to kind of kick off Saturday morning. That's at 8 a.m. right on the 18th hole. great serene setting, great way to start your day and kind of get into the activities. And then that night we do a barbecue contest. So the South Dakota Beef Industry Council, they sponsor a brisket smoking contest. They bring in 6 different vendors. It's free. It's open to the public. So even if you're not out at the golf tournament that day, you can come for the barbecue contest, try some brisket. And then Jocko Deal, who's John Daly's friend, is actually going to be providing some live entertainment that evening on the driving range, and just get some music in the air and get people trying some great brisket made by South Dakota Beef. So that's Saturday, and then we get into Sunday, which is just the final round of tournament play. And so get everyone out there to enjoy the final round, really marvel at these guys as they come down the stretch under pressure, and hopefully see another good winner like we've had the last 5 years hoist our trophy.
Oh, that's all. It's a lot. There's a lot of information going on, and it's a big week at the Sanford International. Now, I want to go back to the concert. That's a new concept. It was a new idea that started last year, and originally it was supposed to be at Great Shots, but Mother Nature had other plans in mind and forced the show to be moved inside the Stanford Pentagon. So do you think eventually it would be great to have a concert at Great Shots, or are you just going to play it safe with the weather? Because who knows, it could be snowing tomorrow for all we know.
Well, let's go back to that year. Number one, the pivot we made, I don't know, Davis, 2 days before, maybe a day before, or 28 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And then to see, number one, to give credit to the Sanford Pentagon events team, Brock Reynoldsson and his crew, and everybody at Great Shots, and then Davis's ProLinks team, and all of our partners, to pivot and put that concert inside in short notice was almost impossible, but it was incredible how they pulled it off. And what we did differently was we pushed all the stands in. We had a big open floor area. We're actually doing that again this year. It was actually really well received. But yeah, absolutely, the desire to get a concert out at Great Shots is still one of our goals on the sports complex. We'll continue to pursue the right date, the right weather patterns. That's just going to be something we're going to have to continue to plan for. This year, we wanted to make sure, hey, we got a great artist, we got a great opportunity with John Daly and Jocko to open that thing up. We wanted to make sure it happens without a hiccup as we can plan for contingencies in the future. But we're really excited to have it back in the Pentagon. It's going to be great.
So, Steve, eventually, when hopefully a concert happens at Great Shots, what does that setup look like? Because I was trying to imagine it, and I'm thinking, there's no way that this could happen, but apparently it can.
It can, and it will be really, really unique. Just imagine the stage. I think we would put it out, 60, 80 yards, something like that. Yeah. You'd have a standing room only kind of VIP area and a standing room only just general public area, but then each suite or each golf bay becomes a suite. And you utilize the furniture in there, and you can bring some other things in, and each business could actually have suites within the hitting bays. Then you have some indoor access, you have your hitting bay access, but then your private access on the field. We've had all kinds of fun ideas, like what it looks like for trucks to back in along the dirt road around the nets, but for the most part, it would be within the nets, and the stage would be 60, 80 yards away from the bays.
Make it a game. Maybe at the base you can start hitting golf balls to see who catches
we'd probably
it.
need some kind of glass structure that's unbreakable or something that we can still protect everybody. But we'll eventually get there. It's going to be a good event when we get it outside.
Once again, if you were just listening, we are talking about this year's Sanford International. I want to hear about the golfers. What do they think about Sioux Falls when they come into the area?
They really love it here, Christine, and I'm not just saying that because it's my job, but I mean they tell me that in private, even when they're saying it in public on the Golf Channel. I mean, I think the Sioux Falls hospitality, the South Dakota hospitality, it's second to none. These guys, when they come here, they feel appreciated. They're constantly being told thank you for coming by everyone that's here. But they also don't feel like they're in a fishbowl, right? Like they can go out to dinner and not feel like people are going to come up and, ask for a million photos. Well, some guys do like that. Some people like their privacy when they're off the course, right? But they truly enjoy coming to town. We do a pheasant hunt for some of the pros, and they take advantage of that every year, and to kind of get that South Dakota experience, right? But and they truly love Minnehaha Country Club. It's a wonderful golf course. It doesn't have a long yardage, but it plays long just with some of how the course is set up. It's always in fantastic condition. Dave Swift and his team, the superintendent over there, do a wonderful job each year. And I say it every year, but it keeps getting better and better. I mean, this might be the best year that it is condition-wise. And they work with the PGA Tour agronomist that comes in and kind of gives them some pointers on how to do things and how they like things. But the players really enjoy coming here. We do some special other things like the skins game that we have on Wednesday night for some of the top guys. They really like coming for that. So they continue to come year in, year out, and that speaks to all of those things in a nutshell. It's not just one of them. All of those have to work together in order to get a good player field for them to come out.
So I've noticed that South Dakota, it's a great golfing state. You wouldn't think that because you probably only get about 5 months in a good year to actually go out on a course and play, but it is popular around the Sioux Empire. What can you guys say about the growth of the sport?
I mean, honestly, you look at it industry-wide, right? I mean, I think COVID had a lot to do with the game itself. I mean, you were kind of looking at declining participation levels, and then that became the activity that you could do outside safely during that time, right? So that had a huge impact on just the recreational level. And then we've seen that since then of just more fans coming out to enjoy the golf. You know, their interest has been piqued when they go out there and play with their buddies. And why not come and see some of the greatest to ever play the game come and compete as well? So, but I think in just Sioux Falls in general, there's a wait list at Minnehaha Country Club. There's a wait list at Country Club of Sioux Falls. There's a new golf club coming to town in a couple of years in Mapleton. You look at all of the Great Life courses and the city courses. I mean, tee times are booked weeks in advance, and you're looking at 5-hour plus rounds when you get out there just because there's so many people on the golf course. So that really truly speaks to where the game is in a great place. And I know that the PGA Tour, USGA, the PGA of America are all looking to kind of continue to capitalize on this renewed interest in the game. And you can definitely see it here in Sioux Falls.
Steve, what have you noticed? Do you have people asking you more about golf lessons or, basically how do I get into the sport when it's not 20 below out here?
Well, exactly what Davis said. We saw a peak during the pandemic. Number one, we had the ability to serve people through great shots. It was open air facility. Yes, it was somewhat indoors, but we did see a huge increase in participation. Our golf academy, or our Sanford Sports Academy on the golf side, has really grown exponentially. And we've got some really good golfers, a bunch of state champions that have been participating with us. So we've seen a huge increase. I would say you also have just golf's fun. Golf is something that the whole family can do. During the pandemic, I couldn't get my boys junior sets, and now they're sharing clubs with me, so I don't need to go buy a junior set. They've all grown up. But we're planning our first, men's golf trip, young family golf trip that we're going to do. We're actually going to Vermilion to start, but we practice out of Great Shots where they play the fish game. They do the long drive stuff, and it's just something that the entire family can do, whether you're great at it or you're not so great, like myself. And then, like Davis says, when you compare yourself or you're standing next to these pros in a pro-am or just on the greens on a Sunday, and you see how close they hit it to where they hit it, how they hit it. They don't miss a lot of putts, and you're just in awe. It's just something to continue to do. But we believe it's a lifelong sport. I think honestly, everybody should learn to play the game. At some point, you're going to be influenced by golf at some way, shape, or whether you're doing business development, you're doing social stuff, or you're doing something fun at Great Shots.
I'm guessing that you're going to check out the Bluffs for this trip.
Oh, yeah. The Bluffs is, I went to USD, so a nice little plug for USD there. But was a member there my 2 grad school years down there. But, yeah, the Bluffs is something fun. And we're going to, even if the boys are going to be teeing off down below the Bluffs, we're still hitting from up high.
There's so much to get excited about the future of golf. I remember my first experience. I went to the U.S. Open in 2003, and I don't remember this, but my dad said, yeah, you saw Tiger Woods. He walked by you. He didn't sign anything because, Tiger, he's in that mode. But what I do remember is having Vijay Singh sign my flag that my dad got us. We still had that flag. And when my dad came to the Sanford International, last year and a couple of years before that, he brought the flag with him and showed Vijay. And he's like, oh my God, you still have that? And it's like, yeah, we still have that. Or when Jack is out there, the Golden Bear, my dad cried. I've never seen him cry. But people get excited about the sport. So, Steve, I'll start with you. What gets you excited about the future of golf?
I think that it's something that's going to continue to develop and grow. I think what I love about it is you don't have to be an absolute amazing athlete to learn how to play and to play it respectfully. If you want to go and become a pro or become a Tour Champions player, yeah, you got to be pretty good and you got to be very, very athletic in the golf swing. But it's an opportunity for everybody to engage in something outdoors, something sport related, and something you can share with everybody else. At the same time, what I love about golf is nobody can bail you out.
Yeah,
it's you versus you, and you've got to, for our young golfers in the academy, they're out there by themselves, and yeah, a coach can give them a tip or two, but at the end of the day, they have to build their own adaptable resilience to get themselves out of stuff, and that's a lifelong lesson that will serve these kids for years to come. So that's one of the things I really love about it.
All right, Davis, what gets you excited?
Yeah, I mean, like Steve said, I think just the perseverance, right? I can't remember which golf legend said it, but it's played on a course between the 8 inches between your eears, right? I think there's never been a more truer statement, because it truly is you against the course. You're playing against competitors, but it's an individual thing to try to tackle each time. But speaking to your story about VJ, I think that's what makes the guys that come here for the Sanford International, they're so accessible. Right? Like on the PGA Tour, those guys are locked in. They're trying to make their living. They're going week to week to, improve their status and whatnot. I'm not saying that the Champions Tour guys don't do that too, but a lot of these guys have made their money in their career. They're doing this because it's all they know. They've been traveling for 30 plus years, playing golf, being around the same guys. Their wives are used to them being out of the house, right? So when they can't wait some of the wives can't wait till when they turn 50 again, right? So they can get back on that schedule. But that camaraderie is really felt out at the Sanford International. There's countless stories like yours, whether it's a VJ, whether it's a Dickie Pride, whether it's a Michael Allen. I mean, guys that, are relatively unknown, but will take the time to talk to the spectators, take the time to critique their Pro-Am players and give them a lesson that they'll hold on to for years to come, like Steven Alker with Steve Young a couple years ago, changed his game. But that's constantly remarked from people that come out to the event, and you don't have to love the sport. You don't have to even play the sport to come out and have a good time, whether it's the networking with the other individuals that are out there or just watching these masters of their craft. There's something to be said of watching someone that's put in so many hours into this sport and seeing how they attack it. And, we watch these guys, they make it look easy. It makes me want to go play golf, right? And so I think that's the cool thing that I love about the sport, but then also what I love about our tournament too.
Lots of great stuff happening for this year's Sanford International at the Minnehaha Country Club. Before I let you guys go, predictions. Who's going to take it all?
That's a tough one. I think I've been saying it for years, and he's been close. I think Ernie Els takes it down this year. He's been close this entire year. This golf course fits his eye pretty well. That's my unprofessional prediction.
Steve?
I've got two, and it's kind of a cop-out, but I believe Bernhard Langner's going to be right there. He's been close. He's been competitive. He's been a great ambassador for the game. He's set records this year, so this would be a nice way to cap it off. But if we get commitments like a Stuart Sink, that's a newcomer, has the potential to come in and surprise people too.
My prediction, I can't believe I'm going to say it, it's Steve Stricker. He's been nailing it this year on the tour.
He's been pretty incredible. Yeah, I was talking with him a couple of weeks ago, and I said Zach Johnson would be silly if he didn't at least consider you for a Ryder Cup pick the way that you've been playing, right? So, but we're looking forward to another fantastic field out at the tournament, and hopefully we get the same weather that we have been having this entire summer, and the guys will tear up the course, that's for sure.
Not too hot and humid, though. Let's hold off on the humidity.
I'm okay with the humidity as long as there's no rain in there, right? So,
and just for anyone that wants more information about this year's tournament, what's the website and a reminder for the dates for the tournament too?
Sure. Yeah, www.sanfordinternational.com. You can find our schedule of events there, purchase grounds tickets, purchase concert tickets with Jake Owen and John Daly. And then the dates of the event are September 11th through the 17th. All of those fun ancillary events taking place the 11th through the 14th, and the championship beginning on Friday the 15th through Sunday the 17th.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Christine.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.